Hello, so today we are going to talk about problems from contest 331, this week's contest. The first problem is take gifts from the richest pile. So we get an array of gifts that represents the number of gifts in a number of piles. And basically what we are going to do is that every second we'll do the following here. So we'll choose the pile with the highest number of gifts, right? So this is a pile, this is a pile, and for example at the start the highest number of gifts is this pile, right? And so yeah, and here it says if there are two of equal count of gifts, which we can pick any of them randomly, it doesn't matter. But what we do is we leave behind the floor of the square root of the number of gifts, and then we take the rest with us. Okay, and so for example here the process would be to first take the highest one, 100. What's the floor of the square root? That's just 10. So that means we take 90 and leave 10. So you can think about like you replace this with 10. Okay. Now the other thing to think about is that, let's say if k was 3, even with k equal to 4, in the fourth iteration you don't take 9, right? Because after 25 and 64 there is 9. You take 10 because what's left is a pile that should be included in the next iterations, right? So that's an important piece. And here what we want to return is the number of gifts remaining after k seconds, right? So for example here, the first second we take this 100, we leave 10, right, behind. And then the second one, the highest one after that, 64. Okay, so square root is 8. So we take 8, we leave 8, so we have 8 left behind here. And then in the operation after that, we take the highest one, which is 25. So we take, we leave 5 and we take 20. And so you have 5 left here. And then the fourth iteration, what is the highest number? So we have 5, 8, 9, 4, 10. The highest number is 10, right? So we take 10, right? What's the floor of the square root of 10? It's almost 3. Yeah, so the square root of 10, it's almost 3. So if we take the floor, it's going to be 3. And so that means this one here becomes 3. And so the final result that we have is this list here. And so we just take the sum, and the sum is 29, right? So that's roughly the idea. Now, if we look at the constraint here, 10 to the power of 3 and 10 to the power of 3 for k, so 10 to the power of 6 should be fine. But just looking at the problem here, you can see that every time we want to take the highest value, right? So you should immediately think about using priority queue for this, right? And so let's just use a priority queue and keep extracting until until we do k iterations, right? And so to do that, then we will need here to just define our priority queue. And in Python, to get a priority queue that gives you the highest value first, we need to just use minus, because by default it gives you the smallest value, right? And so x is going to be in gifts, and we want to heapify it, right, to turn it into a heap. So heap q dot heapify priority queue. And now we want to do k iterations. So while k, and of course each iteration we are going to subtract. And just in case the number of elements is smaller than k, that's possible. So we want to just make sure that the priority queue doesn't become empty. And then we keep extracting the highest value. And so heap pop. But since we did minus here, to recover the actual positive value, we need to do minus here. Okay. And now we want to push, right? Because for example here, when we extracted 100, right, we leave behind the square root, right, of 100, which is 10. So we should put this back into the queue so that next time, if it's the higher value, like in this case, higher than 9, we want to take this one, right? So this is an important piece. So we want to push the priority queue, the square root. So basically what's left is going to be the square root of x, right? And of course we want to floor it, so we can either use math floor, or in Python you can also use int. So that's what we are going to pass here. And then at the end, after either k iteration or the queue is empty, especially after k iteration, what we want to return is the number of gifts remaining after those k seconds. So what's that? That's just what's left in the queue, and we take the sum, right? And so to do that, we just we want to take the sum of what's left in the queue. But remember, the queue, the values are negative because we want to get the highest value. So we just want to get rid of that negative, and that should be it. And then we take the sum of that. Okay, it's still negative. Let's see what. Yeah, so the problem here is when we put it back, we want to make it negative as well. Yeah. Okay, so that looks good. Let's submit. And that passes our test cases. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for this problem. It's pretty easy application of priority queue. Please like and subscribe, and see you on the next one. Bye.